Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Michael Q, LAU, the Holistic Transformation Coach, where I am here to help you fall in love with the journey of fit by balancing the love-hate relationship of fitness and food. All right, because we know that in order to change our bodies, we have to do two essential things: change the way we think about food, and then we also have to change the way we do fitness or increase the fitness. And sometimes, as in my case, you had to change some things when it came to, being physically fit. Because with me, I grew up playing a lot of basketball and I also wanted to gain muscle, but then I had to realize along the journey that doing the two simultaneously is kind of hard. So I had to, once I got into college, I was still playing basketball. I was still, playing basketball, a good 5 days a week. And then I was weightlifting 5 days a week. And those two, the adding wasn't adding. So I would be able to gain muscle by, weightlifting and eating right. But then I would lose it because I was overexerting myself. So I had to do less of the cardio so that I could put on the muscle. But it took me a while to learn that. So today we're going to be talking about what's stopping you. All right. So what's stopping you from being the better, fitter person that's within you, because it's all within us. Okay. So let me do this. Hold on momentarily. All right. So we're going to be having a discussion. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and drop it in the chat. And we're going to go from there. And let me mute this computer before it comes up. All right. So again, I'm Michael Q, LAU, the Holistic Transformation Coach, where I help you fall in love with the journey of being fit by helping you fall in love with fitness and food. All right, so this is live from the fifth community, where it stands for the 4 Infinite Fit, teaching health. It is going to be the health component of it, because in being fit, you have to be, or healthy and whole, you have to be fit and you have to be healthy as well. Because you can look at the outside of somebody and think that they're healthy, but in actuality, they're suffering within themselves. A lot of times we see bodybuilders. When I was first, growing up, I really wanted to be, some of those people that were on stage, like Arnold Schwarzenegger was one of the main people that a lot of people that I grew up with were idolizing. Then I had, the wrestlers and things like that. But there's some things that are going on behind the scenes that we don't see. So we really don't know what true health looks like. However, you can get in part of the community, and then you can be able to see different trace clues to see what it really means to live a healthy lifestyle. Because what good is it to be able to lift all this weight if you can't go up and down some stairs because you don't have the cardiovascular, or like years later after you do all of the strength training, you have bad knees and joints and you are unable to enjoy the rest of your life. Okay. So that's what this is all about. It's about the 4 Infinite. Okay. Forever and infinite. So that's wealth. That means it's going to continue to go. So it doesn't stop one day. It just continues to build on top of one another. It's like the compound effect. All right. Einstein said that's the seventh wonder of the world is the compound interest, because it just scales up exponentially. I was about to say extramentally. That ain't it though. All right. So what's stopping you? So there are some trace clues when it comes to like what's stopping you as far as being the best physically fit person that's within you. And I read this book. It's called Freedom for Fears. And this is really just a holistic approach to what's stopping you from getting from point A to point B. And I like to say from point A to point Z. And then along the way, you can collapse that time. So then you can skip some steps along the way. Because you start to, as you make steps, you make strides, you start to build momentum. Momentum is going to be the consistency, because consistency is key. And as you build those strides, you're going to build discipline along the way. And then with motivation and discipline, you're going to be able to collapse time, because you're going to learn along the way. But the most important thing is to get going. Okay? So it's ready, fire, aim. You're ready. You want to change. Fire. go ahead and get started. And then along the way, start to learn, because as you start shooting your shot, you may not be able to make it every single time, but over the course of time, you're going to increase your accuracy. But you have to get started. You just can't get ready and then aim and then never shoot. So just go ahead and start shooting your shots. So I have a list of different things that may be getting in your way. So go ahead and check out the list and see if this applies to you. And then if you have any questions, you can always drop it down in the comments down below as well. All right, or put it in the comment section. So there's 3 steps, actually 4 steps into changing. So you have awareness. You have the desire to want to change. So you're aware that something needs to change. But oftentimes we don't really know how. Sometimes we may have role models that may be able to help us along the way. We may have some people that are not present to be able to help us along the way. So a lot of times we grow up with role models, and our role models implant in us the way that the world works. Whether it be your relationship with money, your relationship with food, your relationship with fitness. When it comes to your relationship with food, put a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard this before. Eat everything that's on your plate. Don't get up from the table until you finish your food. Don't drink anything until you eat all of your food. Don't throw that food away. You've probably heard one of those different things, and this is tainting shaping your experience with food. You're seeing as food as something that has to be eaten no matter what, no matter how full that you are. So you're going past that level of being satisfied, then now you're going to being stuffed. And this is going to follow you after you leave your parents' house if you are not aware of it. If you do not find the seed, if you do not find the roots, it's going to manifest in different roots. You may have a poor relationship with food, so it's going to cause you to overeat, binge eating, binge drinking, which is another thing, because if you don't leave anything on your plate, you're not going to leave anything in the glass neither. So when you come of age and you are less aware of like where everything came from, in a real root of the issue is going to be multiplied and stem into the fruit. Because you have the fruit, you have the trunk or the stem. So the stem is going to lead to the rose or the bud of everything that you have been going through. So that's the first step, awareness. So why do I have this poor relationship with fitness? Why do I not believe that I can get into the better shape of my life? And I'm using the word better because you constantly want to constantly evolve and grow. Because as you go through one facet of your life, something may change. One of the spokes of the wheel may come out that may handicap you or limit you from doing from your best. So it's all about going to the better. So for example, one of the things that I definitely want to do is to continue to be able to play with my niece as she grows older. And then as life happens and she starts to get, come of the age to where she's, 18 and different things like that, then it would be able to morph into doing different activities with my niece. So it may not be jumping rope. It may be going to the gym, working out with my niece. So the spoke may change, but my attention, the wheel will continue to drive. All right. So that spoke, that wheel, that's the motivation. You constantly want to have that wheel in motion. And that wheel in motion is going to turn into discipline. That discipline is going to carry you along the way. So for y'all visual learners, what was it? There was like a game back in the day. It was like middle school. It was like you had to have a wagon. I want to say it was like wagon trail or something like that, where you went out you had to explore and go west, but you always had that wagon wheel, and you had to constantly bring things along the journey. And if you had too much, you'll go slower. So sometimes you don't want to carry enough. Sometimes you want to let go of old baggage. And this is what that awareness piece is going to do. It's going to allow you to be aware of all the baggage that you have. And then the next step is understanding. Understanding is understanding, where it came from. So why do you feel the way that you do in regards to your relationship with food? And the thing about relationships is they're constant. Relationships are always going to be present, whether you're with somebody else or you're alone. And what I mean by if you're with somebody else, you have to relate to them, okay? And then if you're by yourself, you have your higher self, the things that you want to do, the positive things that you want to go. You have your present self, the person that feels comfortable where they are. But then you also have your past self, and you can use all three parts of who you are in order to prepare yourself forward. You can use past pain, trauma, because you've gone through different trials and tribulations to help you push through everything that you're going through right now. And then you can use your imagination to be able to shape you into the future. Okay? And the third part is disassociation. So after understanding, you understand exactly where you are. You understand how you get there. And the awareness piece lets you know that, and that's the first part, you want to grow. So understanding is, not understanding, but awareness is realizing that there's a problem. And that problem creates a rift between the past and the present. The past and the future. So you're at your present moment and you want to be a higher person. Understanding lets you know who you are right now. I am this currently. And you're aware of where you want to be. Okay? Kind of like a little, All right, so in the third step is going to be disassociation. So you have to disassociate your current self from your past self. Because you have to realize that the stories that you told yourself were just stories. And you have to realize that with understanding and awareness, where those stories came from. Okay? I have a quote over here. Your thoughts dictate your results. Again, your thoughts dictate your results. So by disassociating from your past, you can now associate with your future. You can disassociate with your past self, your past life, your past trauma, your past trials and tribulations, and you can use that and harness that into your future self so that you can form the future. So you can positively associate with the things. And there's going to be different ways that you can go from your present to your future. And a lot of it is really going to can come through many ways. It can come through, doing different research, but a lot of it is having somebody that's gone through different things that you've been through, whether it be YouTube University, whether it be reading books, whether it be just getting in the environment, getting into a community. When I started working out, I got into the gym. I got onto the basketball team, and that helped me to bring my fitness level to another level. But eventually I got to a certain level, and then I had to change because I was evolving into something different. So then I had to change the environment. So it's constant evolution. Okay? So as you hit the ceiling at one, you then reshape, reframe, and then you grow again. So now we're going to go into what is stopping you. So what is stopping you? So a lot of times, and then just let me know if this is ever wrong true for you. You started to do something different, and you've been around friends and family, and then they started saying that you're changing, you changing on us, you think you're too good for us now. And you're like, nah, I just want to do better. What's wrong with me, wanting to do better? A lot of the times when other people see that you're doing better, it brings shame onto them, and they're projecting what they could have done or the lack of what they didn't do onto you and with the different things that they say. So it's not a you issue, it's really a they issue. So who is that? These are people that you love. They are people that you love, that you've grown and you trusted, and they've gotten you to your present. And some of them may be there with you into your future. So some people, you're going to identify them as roots. You have, I'm forgetting, a branch, and then you have leaves. The people that are your root, they want the best from you. Okay, again, these people want the best for you. They may And these are going to take in the form of two different types of people. Those that want better for themselves and those that don't really want better for themselves, okay? But they ultimately want the best for you. So what they have in common, they want the best for you. They may not want the best for themselves, or they may want the best for themselves, but ultimately your roots want the best in you. And these people can be able to help you grow no matter what. Because even though they may or may not be doing what you're doing or going on to the same path, they're not hindering you. They're not stopping you. They're not a barrier for your own success and being healthy. They're not going to say, okay, it's family reunion time, or you're going to their family for the holidays. They're not going to tempt you into doing things that are going to get you off track. They're going to remind you. They're going to help you. If you get off track, they'll help guide you and put you along. They may be in the background eating, those Cheetos and, hot cakes and different things that really aren't for you in your future. But they're not going to offer you these things because they have your best interest at heart. These are the people are your roots. And then you have the branches. These are the people that you'll see during the winter months. A branch, it grows and then it goes on to the leaves. The branches oftentimes break off, but they are strong enough to carry other things. So they can help you get to a certain point, but they can't get you all the way. These people, different from a root, these people aren't pouring into you. These people are taking some things from you. So, they're the nutrients of a tree. They go from the soil, they go to the trunk, to the branches. So they are people that are able to, get different information from you. They can supply you for, a certain period of time. Because as you know, with the seasons, there's 4 seasons. You have spring, summer, fall, and then you have the winter time. During the winter time is when these branches are going to show themselves, because they're going to start to fall away during the darkest times. And then they may occasionally grow back during the springtime, flourish during the summer when you're doing extremely well. And then when the fall comes, they slowly go away and then they fall apart. So these are people that are with you for seasons, and they may come, one season out of the year, and they may stay with you for a period of time. But these are not people that are going to stay from you from the beginning to the end, because they do not have your true and best interest at heart. And then the third component, the leaf. We know what these leaves are. They grow in the spring. When you start really, go through your growth spurts, they really extract a lot of information from you. They really take, but they really don't give any value to you. And then when the summer comes, they really blossom. They really show up, like when you're in your hot months. But then when the fall comes, they start to change. They really start to show their true colors, photosynthesis. And then in the winter time, you don't see them anymore. So these are different than branches, because branches at least will stay and support you. Again, they will support you. They will provide some shade for you. The roots are going to be able to help you grow into the person that you want to become. The branch is going to be able to support you. They may not be able to grow you, but they can sustain you. But then these leaves, they're just going to take, and then they're going to bounce once they're getting is good enough. All right. So we broke down the 4. Actually, we did 3 components. We talked about the awareness, understanding, and then we talked about disassociation. Just to do a brief reframe, awareness is realizing that you need to change. Understanding is why, and it's understanding why you feel the way that you feel is why you need to change. And when the why is strong enough, the how is made easy. I'm gonna say that one more time. When the why is strong enough, the how is made easy. If you have an idea and then you have a goal, you're at phase A, you want to get to phase Z. You're not going to see all the steps in between. The how is going to show up when you're passionate about it, when you have the motivation, because the motivation is going to sustain you for a period of time, period. But the motivation is basically just energy in motion. It gets you going. It's your feelings that are leading your actions. Your thoughts create the point A and the point B, and your feelings get you going. Your feelings are going to get you faster than your thoughts. Because if I get an extreme nerve pain in my shoulder, I'm not going to work out. No matter how much I think that I want to work out, or I wish that I want to work out, because I have this pain, I'm not going to do it, because the pain is going to stop you. But the pain, I don't want to say pain can push. Pain can also push you to get past everything that you're going through, because then you can use that as motivation to recover. But if you don't have that pain, you have all this emotion, you have this energy, you'll show up for yourself in the gym. So you can use that motivation as energy, but use discipline to stay consistent, because consistency is the cheat code. So you stay disciplined, you day by day, you're just showing up, you take these different steps and elevate. And the energy is just you moving from one step to another. Some days you may not have it, but that discipline is going to keep the needle moving. And then the next phase after understanding is going to be disassociation. You're going to disassociate with those things that are limiting you. You're going to get stronger in your roots, the people that are helping you. You'll start to veer away from those branches, those people that are, providing shade, but they're not helping you grow. They're sustaining you, but they're not growing you. And then you'll definitely move away from these leaves, because as you become, you attract. So you attract what you become. In order to go to the next level, you have to become something new. Be, do, have. If you want to have, you have to do. If you want to do, you have to be. So be the person that does the thing, so you can do the thing that the person has. So if you want to have infinite life, infinite fitness, as I like to say, you have to do the things that a healthy person does. You have to eat a certain way. You have to do activities that a certain healthy individual does. And all you got to do is just think to yourself and put yourself in the situation, or when you come to that situation, you have to be conscious and aware and understand that of what situation that you're in, so then you can disassociate from the person that doesn't and the person that does. And the person that does asks the questions. They ask, what would a healthy person do? What would future me do at this time? And once you start really asking these questions and doing a deep and hard dive and looking into this, you'll begin to disassociate, and then you will associate with that person. That's going to be the fourth phase. All right. So you don't have to change your friend groups. You don't have to do any of that. You can keep the same friends. But what's going to happen is, as you become something different, if they start to feel a certain way, it's on them. Again, they are just projecting out their thoughts onto you. And in doing so, they are just really showing, whether they're a root, a branch, or a leaf. And by them showing you who they are, you can trust that. Trust them to believe them the first time. That's what Oprah said. When the person, well, actually, Maya Angelou said that. Oprah begins some Maya Angelou quotes all the time. But when a person shows you who they are the first time, believe them. Okay? And quiet as it's kept, they don't have to show you the first time, because you've met them before. And what I mean by that is, if you've ever met somebody and you picked up like a vibe from them, and it's like, man, I don't know what it is about this person, but I just can't trust them. I think that if I do this, they may do that. So, there's a lot of people that I've already met before. And what I mean by that is, like, you can pick up on somebody's vibes, on the characteristics, and then you don't want to discount what they may be doing. You always want to speak life into people. And at the same time, you still have to be able to protect your heart. So if you realize that somebody may not have your best interest at heart, it's good to be on guard until they prove you otherwise. Because at the end of the day, it really falls in on you. All right? So just trust yourself, and the rest will be sure to flow. All right, so we talked about awareness, understanding, disassociation to association. So then you can change. That's the change formula. And then we talked about the root, the branch, and then we talked about the leaves and how to disassociate between the three. So when it comes to changing, usually there's going to fall into 7 different categories. of why you fear change. And for somebody, you may have, all 7 of these features. One may be at a higher range or gauge than others. You may have a mix of all, and you may just have one. It may have like 10% to 100. Okay, so I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through 3 because this is going to be most relevant to when it comes to being in shape. And I've kind of touched on it when I was talking about the roots, branches, and the leaves. And this is the loss of love. All right. So you fear the loss of love. You fear losing the people that you have grown close to. And as you get older, relationships change, people do change. And what you'll realize is that when you really start to change and they don't want to change, if you grow into a better person, they may feel some type of shame. Okay. And what I mean by shame is like realizing that they could have done what you're doing. They came from the situation, the same background. They came from everything that you've been through. So what's so special about you? And then they start to have shame within themselves that, okay, if they were able to do it, why was I not able to do it too? So this is shame, okay? That's all that it is. And shame like goes down, it's like different ways. So for them, or even for you, you may also feel shame for elevating, and then them either not elevating or not wanting to elevate with you or move along into the journey. Now, you can't move into a journey and drag people along the way. That's going to carry extra weight and it's going to be a burden. So you never want somebody to be a burden, and you don't want to carry additional weight along with you. All right, so shame can make you feel a number of things. All right, so shame can change. So shame is the reason why you have to do like the deep inner work, why you have to build the understanding, the awareness. The awareness, the understanding, be able to disassociate from these things, because we do not wrestle against flesh and flesh. We wrestle against principalities. So that's why it's like a spiritual journey. It's about the thoughts that become things, because thoughts are the real true things that are in life, and the things that are on the outside are a result of the things that we think about. So you have to change the way that you think, change your mindset, change the way that you see and feel on the inside, and you'll change your environment on the outside. Again, you change the environment on the inside, and you'll change the environment on the outside. Once you become the person that does the thing, you will have the thing that person deserves, but you have to earn it. So shame is the reason we have to do the spiritual work. So shame wants you not to be seen. It wants you to hide. It doesn't want you to show up for yourself. It doesn't want you to be your better self. It wants you to shrink. It wants you to be less than what you know that you are. And this is what's going to make you comfortable. You feel comfortable at a certain point, and you don't want to expand. This is shame. You have a deep feeling of, shame, just feeling comfortable. You don't want to, you don't want to do too much. You don't want to think, bring attention to yourself. And that's what shame would do. Because if you're courageous, you're going to go out and do the things that you feel led to do, because you're not worried about what other people think. So that's the loss of love, worrying about what other people think. Happy people, they really, really don't care about what other people think, their opinions. They just do what's best in their best interest. All right. So shame also wants you to contract. And by contracting, that is shrinking. Okay. So it doesn't want you to expand. It doesn't want you to grow. It wants you to shrink. It wants you to devolve, not evolve. So you have to elevate yourself above the shame to become the person that you are, because we were made to be great. There is a seed that's implanted in us that's different than any other seed in any other person, that spirit that's within us. And you can only hear that spirit and be able to really understand when you sit in silence. And the funny thing about when you sit in silence, you begin to hear, the infinite intelligence, whether you want to call it God, if you want to call it whatever you want to call it. I just like to say infinite intelligence to be able to speak to all religions, whichever spirit that you listen to. All right. So once you elevate yourself above the shame and look into the person that you are to become, this is going to be able to move you to a different and transcend the person that you are currently. So it's all about transcendence. All right. Then I have some other notes over here that I'll be looking at as well. So basically, by you transcending, it's like using the law of attraction to your advantage. So it's just emitting positive vibrations, and positive vibrations are just your thoughts, the things that you are emitting out. Because everything is a vibration. When you talk through vocal cords and it manifests into sounds. Okay? Before it even gets to the vocal cords, you have to think about it. And then it's just the neurons moving throughout your body. So these are different vibrations that are going out, and they are going to be illuminated by the projections of your vocal cords. So thoughts become things. So emitting positive vibrations in the form of constructive thoughts attracts opportunities towards us and mobilizes our subconscious to work in conjunction with our imagination and infinite intelligence. So that's why I was saying it's important to be able to sit in silence, so then we can have an understanding of our infinite intelligence that's already within us. And as you work your imagination in conjunction with the person that you are supposed to be, that you are meant to be, that you use your imagination to become, now you can then backtrack and work your subconscious mind. Now, if you're unaware about like what the subconscious mind is, basically it's just your body on autopilot. There's a lot of functions that go within us that we don't even have to think about. Our heart beats automatically. We can speed it up and slow it down just by, speeding up our activity levels. However, it just works onto itself. Like we don't have to do much to it. And getting to understanding your awareness, understanding what you think about, that's going into your conscious mind. So thinking about what you're thinking about is meta thinking or metacognition. And by doing so, you're more aware of your subconscious. And the more aware that you are of your subconscious mind, the better aware that you can be of your conscious mind, and then be able to control your subconscious mind. That's a whole deep conversation. There's a book that you can read. It's called, I have the book somewhere over here. It's by, now I don't forget his name, Dr. Joe Dispenza. And the book is called Changing the Habit of Being Yourself. And actually, I'm going to find this book because it's a really good book. It's right here. Actually, it's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. So it's this book right here. And it's a 2-part book. The first part goes into breaking down the person that you are. Actually, nope, that's the second part. So the first part it does a deep and wide dive into understanding the mind, the brain, the way that it works. Your brain has between 20 and 50,000 thoughts per day. Automatically, that's a subconscious mind. And then it goes into like how you can have better control of your subconscious by tapping into your conscious and different meditations. And then the second half goes over, actionable steps to be able to control that. And then it goes into a third part, which is meditations, and it's a 4-week meditation. So somewhere back down on my actually you can go back to my on my videos on my Instagram on the play screen, and you'll see the different meditations. The first one's like very dark, but it's like on the very bottom. And then if you're in the comments, you can feel free to put this in the chat. It's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. All right. So I'm going to put that up long enough so you're able to see it and visualize it and get it on in. But I've read probably about like 20 books in the past, I want to say like 9 months. That's number one. That's number one for me, because in any journey that you're going through, it's really going to speak to yourself. And I think the first thing that you need to work on is the inner work, and then that's going to change the outer work. So it doesn't matter if you get all the skills and tools for the trade, if you don't fix the person that's, or I don't want to say fix, but transcend the person that's within. All right, so we got to the fear of loss. So it's all about losing out on those people that you've grown to love. And this also can incorporate to, family members. And I want to go as close as you can get. And I'll say, like, if you're married, there's going to be times to where each of you shift. And you may fear of loss of growing and doing things that are different, because you're going to lose the connection that you have with somebody that you are intimately, legally obligated to. I don't want to say obligated, but that's the word that I'm going to use. I'm just going to use a strong word. So this is somebody that you have strong ties to. You're spiritually connected to it, and it just lets you know that there's always opportunities for you to be able to grow. You don't want to lose out on somebody that's so close and so intimate to you, especially if you have kids, because now you have another connection. So this can be one of those fears that's holding you still from becoming something different, because if you change, now what happens to the relationship? It also has to change. So that's the power of relationships. All right, because when one person changes, now everybody else is forced to change as a result. And I don't want to say forced to change, but they have a choice to change. And sometimes you may feel like you're not giving the other person a choice to change. And this book that I'm reading is called like being reacting. And reacting is when somebody tells you to do something and it feels like they're not giving you an option. So like I enjoy working out. But if somebody said that I have to, or I also enjoy training people to work out. So if somebody told me that I have to train 10 people on this day, I may be reluctant. And then as a reaction, I'm going to be reluctant to doing it, because now they're biting into my time. My time is very valuable. So it's just going against what it's like kind of working against itself. It's like, you need to do it, you love doing it, but you don't want to do it because now they're forcing you. You never want to force somebody else to do something that's not within them. So you don't want to build a reluctant spirit in somebody else, because then they'll resist anything that you're trying to do or wanting to do. Okay? All right, so we went over the loss of property. Then next, and we did a really deep dive on the loss of love, but I believe that's one of those number one things, because we're in a lot of relationships with people in a community, and sometimes you fear losing out on other people, but also realize that in the law of attraction, you're also going to gain people that are for you. And what I mean by that, earlier I said the form of constructive thoughts attracts opportunities towards us and mobilizes our subconscious mind to work in conjunction. So you're going to, let's say you want to become healthier, you want to just go on to a fitness journey, whatever that be. Whether it be you want to, ride your bike more often, whether you want to be a runner, whether you want to be a weightlifter, you're going to move in different communities that are going to have those people in them. So your subconscious mind is going to attract you to these different communities. You're going to hear something and it's like, you may have heard it before, but then it's going to hit a little bit different. And then you're like, okay, you may have heard of advertisements about, there's a 5K coming up. In the past, you may not have been moved to do it. However, because your subconscious mind is now working, you're going to start picking up on those different advertisements that are moving in the same direction that you want to move to. So then you're going to be a part of the 5K. It will be a part of the 5K. Once you get to the race day, actually even before you get to the race day, you're going to find a community of runners, because there may be some information that you don't know. And as you go outside and you run, even if you don't have a community, you're going to see other runners running. And if you build enough, if you do it often enough, if you have the discipline enough, and you do it routinely at the same time, like people go to Starbucks routinely at the same time, you're going to build a Starbucks effect. And the Starbucks effect is basically just feeling comfortable being in the same playground as somebody else for a long period of time, or consistently over a period of time, to where you feel familiar to them. The same thing happens into the gym. I've been going to the same gym for the past like 6 years. I'm pretty sure you've been going to the same gym, or you've been going, somewhere along the same way consistently, whether that be work. Eventually, you're going to, breed, I don't want to say conformity, but just a relationships with other people based on just being around them over a period of time. And there's like a quote, I can't get the word out, but it's like familiarity breeds something. It may be the other way around that I'm trying to get through. But basically, what I'm saying is, like, just by being around, being in an environment, it's going to breed familiarity. Okay, so just get in the room. You're going to attract these people that are like-minded, and you're going to be able to, work off the vibrations, work off the your end goal that you have and results, the different dreams and visions that you have, and you're going to gravitate towards each other. And that's what I mean by the law of attraction. What you think about, you attract. And as I said earlier, your thoughts dictate your results. So if you're constantly thinking about, okay, I want to run a 5K, I want to run a 5K, an idea comes to your head, okay, I can do this to do a 5K. And then you bring that into your toolbox. You begin running. Then you attract other runners because they're also in the environment. You then get into a running club because they may also be in a part of a morning club. They may have missed a day, but then now they can invite you to the runners club, and then now you're around a community of runners. Say less. I'm gonna move right along. So the next, so we did the fear of loss, the fear of criticism, which we're gonna do a deeper dive on, and the fear of criticism is just not feeling comfortable in the environment because you don't feel like you're just going to be criticized. You're going to be put down because you're new to it. You didn't grow to it yet, but eventually you're going to grow to the level to where you're not going to fear about being criticized. But criticism can be a strong barrier to get you into the gym. What's going on? So definitely let me go ahead and do a reset, because I know a lot of people have came in. Again, I'm Michael QLAU, the Holistic Transformation Coach, where I help you to be able to fall in love with the journey of fit by balancing the love-hate relationship between fitness and food, because you can't do one without the other. You overeat, you're going to grow. You don't do enough fitness, you're going to grow. So it's like the inverse effect. All right. So we're talking about the fear of criticism, being in public and doing something, and that fully knowing, or just having the skill set to do it to the full capacity. So if you go to the gym, I know when I first started working out, I would go, not with my basketball team. So on the basketball team, I played for like 2 years. So I was able to have like structure as far as my program. I knew my reps, I knew my sets, but my body wasn't bodying. I was a skinny kid. So I was very self-conscious. And with that, I would fear criticism, getting in a room full of other people that had been doing it for a period of time. So what I would do, I would go in around like noon. During that time, it's dead. Actually, it wouldn't be noon. It would be like 11 o'clock before the lunch crew got there. So I would go after the morning people, and right before like the people that would work out in the during noon on their lunch break. So I would go when it's dead. And I would do that because I was self-conscious. I would do that because I didn't want anybody to look at me a different way. So this was a way for me to be able to protect myself. So because I feared the criticism, I didn't go in the morning time. I didn't go in the evening time. I went specifically during this time. But you can use this fear of criticism to be able to get into the building. And then I just used this to be able to get into the building, build my strength. So then when the summer ended, when I went to college, I was at least being able to put on more weight. Okay, so then I would actually look like I belong. because I didn't want it. My ultimate fear was to get to college. And, there's people that are, I'm going in when I'm 18, and you got other people, you got people there on the basketball team. I went to the University of Memphis. So during that time, we had Joey Dorsey. We had just, all of these top athletes. And I didn't want to be on campus being this skinny kid. So I wanted to change the image because I was first aware that I didn't want to be the skinny kid. Then I developed the understanding of why I didn't want to be the skinny kid. And then the third part, I had to disassociate my activity from being the skinny kid, so then I can associate with being, a muscular person, which changes over time. So these cycles continue because as you go through one level, you reach a goal, typically that will is going to go again, and you're going to cycle into awareness, which is going to breed the change because you have a deeper understanding of what it takes to be that person. Then you're going to disassociate from what you thought that you wanted to what you actually want and associate with becoming that. So it's a constant motion. It's an infinite journey. That's why it's for Infinite Fit Teaching Health. So you can always join that fifth community. Link in the bio, in the description down below. All right, so we talked about the loss of love, the fear of criticism, and I'm going to talk about one more because we've really been talking for like a period of time. But if you have any questions about what's stopping you, or if this is resonating with you, go ahead and leave a comment down below. You can put a 1 in the chat. Just let me know how you're feeling, because these are really some deep issues and deep topics. And these are different things that I like to talk about, because once you change your mind, once you form the mind, you can then form a plan. And then when you form the plan, you can fight the fat, and that's the fitness component. And then you can feed the fit that's within you. And when you feed the fit, after that, it's all about maintaining, and then that's when you can fit it in. And to fit it in is that for infinite journey. Like as I was saying earlier, you constantly grow, but then you constantly change. So you always have to continue on the journey in life. All right. So I'm gonna say that one more time. I'm gonna break it down. Form the mind, form the plan, fight the fit. Actually, fight the fat, feed the fit, and then fit it in. And that's what the fifth community is going to stand on. That's the 5 pillars for Infinite Fit Teaching Health. Because when you teach somebody, you reach, but then you don't also just teach, you also teach yourself. Because when you teach, you learn. The student that's doing the most talking is learning the most. All right. But there's a wise saying. The wise owl looked at an oak tree, and I need to get this book. Where's this book at? I'm gonna be right back because I want to go. I don't want to do this quote any harm. Let me see if I can find it on my computer. Nope. So I'm gonna be right back with this quote. I don't know where that book is, but I'm gonna look it up real quick. But it was about like the wise owl, and the owl looks and it doesn't speak, and it learns, and then it learns to listen more, and then it learns more. I forget what the quote was. I believe I wrote it down, but I can't find it right now. Actually, what I'll do, I'll put it into the, I'm going to upload it. I'll create like I don't want to say a reel, but I'll put it in the quote form, and then I'll leave a link down below in the description. And then the IG, it's going to be on my page, so it's going to be in my stories. So definitely go ahead and follow for that, and just go from there. All right, so we're talking about like the loss of love and the fear of criticism, and we'll go into fear of old age. Okay, so another one that you can fear is the fear of old age, and because as you get older, you're going to fear that you're going to lose something. So I'm just going to read it straight from the book about what the fear of old age. Actually, we're going to go to the fear of ill health, because it's really going to tie intimately into being fit. Because a lot of people don't want to, they want to over exercise because they're going to feel like they're going to fall into like ill health. So the fear of ill health It's like the fear of, actually I'm going to go to the fear of old age. I'm going to stick right here. All right, so it's like the fear of old age and the fear of death is always present at some level, insofar as humans do not like to face their own morality and develop neurosis when they focus too much on it, because our subconscious works on material, our thought impulses, especially ones that are heavily emotionalized. The fear of disease often produces the physical symptoms of the disease feared. Its often effects include the following: addiction to health fads, hypochondria, weakened immune system caused by the mind working to create favorable conditions for the disease, self-indulgence, and using the perceived or expected illness as an excuse for failure or lack of ambition, and intemperance resulting in the attempt to use alcohol and other narcotics as a means of combating the unpleasant symptoms of ill health rather than the root causes. So again, it's using these different substances as a means of combating the unpleasant symptoms of ill health rather than the root causes. So again, it's talking about what you fear ill health, so you're thinking about ill health, ill health, ill health. So then your subconscious mind says, okay, ill health is what you keep on saying, that's what I'm going to give you. So again, what you think about, your thoughts dictate your results. If you're constantly thinking about ill health, you're going to like, well, I'm gonna get ill anyway, and then now you're going to attract ill health, and then ill health can come in a multitude of ways, whether it's overeating, overindulgence, and then also going into the drinking. So it's going to lead to an excuse for failure. I'm going to be unhealthy anyway. But everybody dies one day. You might as well die. You probably heard these different things. This is the awareness piece. Then you have the understanding. You have to understand where these are coming from. These are coming from the fear of ill health. So you overindulge, you drink too much the night before, you don't wake up early enough or on time to go to the gym, you have ill effects, and you don't work out. Or you overeat, so then you come to the point to where you don't feel like going to the gym because you ate so much. So then you feel shame, guilt, and it prevents you from going into the gym. It prevents you, it attracts you to having ill health, because now you have put on more weight, and now you don't want to go to the gym because now you fear being criticized or being fat in the gym. So one of the things that I constantly hear is I need to lose weight first before I start working out. I'm gonna lose the weight first and then I'm gonna work out. Why don't we just lose the weight and work out simultaneously? Because you can do one without the other, but it's better if you do two at the same time. There's a parable in the Bible that when one man works alone, you can get 100% of the effort that you put into it. But if two people are combined, you can get 5,000% out of it. So it goes up, 500%. So it goes up by 500%. Going from working from one person, you get 100% outcome. Or you have one person inputting, you get 100% output. You have two people inputting, you would think mathematically you would get a 200% increase. No, it goes up exponentially. It goes up to 500. So instead of just focusing on losing weight, so then you can have 100% of the outcome, now let's just focus on losing weight and being in the gym, and then that's going to be able to increase and exponentially increase your growth. Okay, so you can combine some things so then you can have more of a better result. All right, so the fear of ill health, this really goes deep and wide, and it really goes into addiction to health fads, yo-yo dieting, doing it and then not doing it, detoxing and not detoxing. What if you can just be consistent? Because a health fad is going to come and go. Your fear of ill health will constantly be there because you're doing things that are counterintuitive. Instead of focusing on the root of the issue, Now you just still got the fruit. You're like, okay, I need to change my diet, and then I'll feel healthier. And then once you start feeling healthy, you stop. That's the fear of ill health, because you're not really changing. You're just going back and forth. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. The weakened immune system, definitely. So if you're overeating, overindulging, you're going to eat bad things, because cheaper foods cost the least. So you can eat more of the bad foods, and then that's going to attract ill health. Whereas if you're focusing on health, what would a healthy person do? Again, going back to the questioning, line of questioning. If you're asking, what would a healthy person do? This is going to get you closer to the results that you want. Okay? So don't focus on the fear of ill health. Focus on what a healthy person does. Focus on the love of being healthy. And then this is going to carry you through the journey a lot further. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and read the rest of this, because I've already read one paragraph. So the fear of ill health, and the book that I'm coming from is the Napoleon Hill, Freedom from Your Fears. If you don't know about Napoleon Hill, you should. He also wrote Think and Grow Rich. So he's definitely on my list of people. So I've already read, and then I'm going to continue. So as we have seen, the fear of ill health reaches epic proportions during times of pandemic. We just got, I don't know, are we done with the pandemic? Is it still the pandemic out there? I don't know. Sending people to the stores, and this is actually written through the Great Depression back in 1919 or 1928 Great Depression. So this is the last Great Depression that we've had before the pandemic, which the pandemic just has a slight dip and then it came right back up. So that's the pandemic that was going through, and they had like the flu influenza. So interesting enough, we're in a pandemic, a viral pandemic. This book was written through a viral pandemic. The flu, which was new, which we're accustomed to now, but then now we have the coronavirus, and then 100 years from now, there may be another outbreak of a different thing. So there's ways that you can learn from your past. Okay, let the books be your mentors. Okay, they spent their entire lifetime learning and growing during these different things. So you let these books be your mentors. All right, so moving on, I'm just going to reread it. So as we have seen, the fear of ill health reaches epic proportions during times of pandemic, sending people to the stores in droves to empty the shelves of toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and face mask. And as you see, this is written pretty recently. According to National Geographic, the panic buying is an evolutionary response intended to induce a sense of control over survival. We always want to be in control of ourselves. If you don't feel in control of what you are doing, even if you love it, you're going to be reactance. REANTANCE. That's a psychological term. Look it up. Google it. It's one of those things that if anybody's ever told you to do something and you didn't want to do it, even though you would have done it otherwise, that's you being reactance. Okay, not reluctant, reactance. You're being reluctant too, but it's rooted in being reluctance. Okay, so new word for me. Hopefully it's not a new word for you, but if it is, we're growing together. So this panic buying is an evolutionary response intended to induce sense of control over one's survival. And yet panic is, by its very definition, fear that has moved from constructive to destructive, controlled to frenzy. Okay? So you have a fear of ill health. You go from, wanting to be in control. So now you're overboard, and now you're frenzied. And then now you're just reaching at any and everything to be able to help you get through anything that you're going through. So this is that fad dieting, taking extreme measures to reach your goals, which is going to be counterproductive in the long run. It's like one of the things that I never suggest for anybody to do is to eat at such like a caloric deficit, like throughout the day, because what's going to happen is if like you're way under your caloric goal or your maintenance level, what's going to happen is towards the end of the day, you're going to have these different cravings. And when you have these cravings, you're going to go crazy. Like I used to go crazy on cookies. It used to be a whole problem. Get over that though, because I had to realize that I just need to have nutrients and minerals into my body, and then that alleviated a lot of the cravings that I was having. So I used to have like a lot of sugar cravings. Thankfully I got rid of that. I only had a cookie this past weekend because I was down in Fort Lauderdale spending time with my family. Hadn't seen them since the pandemic, so they said they wanted to go to this place for cookies, Insomnia. There were CBD cookies, but they weren't. So I tried them out. Got to meet Goku down the street, on another entrance. Whole story. Check my stories out. You may see it. I should have posted a whole reel about it, but we ain't gonna worry about that. But the moral of the story is, I was able to, eat the cookies without feeling guilty because I had kicked the craving that I once had. I used to go through 3 packs of cookies. Go through a party pack of Chips Ahoy cookies, and I used to do like 12 of them. Put them in the microwave for 20 seconds. Take them out, move them around, put them back in for like 20 seconds. Eat them with almond milk. I did this intimately, and I would have these 12 cookies. I would eat like 10 down, but like, man, I'm about to go get some more. I'll eat half the row. I'll eat half the cookies that day, half the next. Go back to the store. It was a whole problem, but I was able to get through that because I was already aware, but I had an understanding of why I was having those cravings. And then I began to disassociate, and I began to associate with healthier habits. So even though I've been, on this journey of infinite fit for the past like 16 years, there are some things that still handicap me, and I'm still growing and learning. So after it goes from controlled to frenzied from what it said, I'm going to read it again. And yet panic is, by its very definition, fear that has moved from constructive to deconstructive. So it once helped you, now it's hindering you. You eating is good, it's constructive, but then you overeating is now deconstructive. So that's how you go from one thing to the next. That one bottle of red wine does help your blood supply. However, when you take 2 or 3 glasses and then it goes to the whole bottle, then it becomes a whole problem. Okay? So the panic, so it goes from control to frenzy. It goes from constructive to deconstructive. Control to frenzied. You have control, now you lose control. So the panic over pandemics often thanks in large part to the media. A lot of times we get our ideas about what health looks like from the media. A lot of images on TV is fast food. And I don't mean the original fast food, which would be fruits, berries, nuts, legumes, and vegetables. I mean the man-made fast food, which goes through these different fast food chains. Okay? So, in the media, who seizes on the spread of illness as the opportunity to generate revenue by fueling people's fears. Okay? So they're fueling your fears. They're fueling your feelings of lack. You don't have much money, let's go get fast food. But the fast food is going to cost you more long run than on the back. It's going to cost you more on the front end than the back end. And the front end is the farm. The farm is the fruits, berries, legumes, berries, and then the vegetables. The back end, or the other P, is going to be the PH, pharmaceuticals, where you go into the hospitals and that. Interesting enough, there have been studies that have been done in the medical setting, to where they've provided education, food, and education and food to be able to help people build an awareness about what they should be eating. And they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then they stopped the study, even though they were saving like 80% of the money than they would, because for people to give them food, it probably cost them like $600. For them to extract a toe, they made $600 from giving foods and education, but then it cost them or where they could have made $6,000 by going through the process of, extracting somebody's toe. So you have to think, food or the pharmaceutical. Which one do you want to be your medicine? Hippocrates said it best. Let food be thy medicine. And there's a lot of nutrients within fruits and vegetables. I'm just going to say plants in general. Interesting enough, plants have 20 senses. Humans have 5. So there's a lot that's going on that we're not really investigating that much about, that really fruits and vegetables can really, be able to heal us from within. So in this study, they made $600 off of providing people, fruits and education, where they would have made $6,000 off of extracting somebody's toe. So they canceled it because they were losing money. So you have to think, who has your best interest at heart? Because the medical districts, the hospitals, they get paid for giving prescriptions from the pharmaceuticals. They don't get paid for nutrition. Interestingly enough, doctors really don't know much about nutrition because it's not even on the test to become a doctor. So when you're going to a doctor, they're going to prescribe Adderall, these different pain medications to be able to alleviate symptoms. They're not going to prescribe food because they don't get paid off of that. All right, so just understand who you're talking to. You have to have the spirit of discernment to be able to discern who's going to be your root, as I said earlier, who's your branch, and who's a leaf. All right, so I just wanted to do a deep and wide dive onto what's stopping you from being a better, fitter you. So hopefully you enjoyed this whole discussion and you're able to learn a lot. Again, the books that I referenced were Napoleon Hill, Freedom from Your Fears. Great book. And then midway through, I'll reference Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself from Dr. Joe Dispenza. So this moves you from the old you to your higher self. It's broken down into 3 phases. The first part is understanding your brain. Well, your brain in general. The brain in general. Neurons and how many thoughts that you have per day, to individually how you can shift from your old self to your new self. And then it goes to the third part where it goes into meditation. So this is definitely a good book. I want to make sure that I'm putting them in the different parts. Forever. Yep, so part 1 is the science of you. Part 2 is the brain and meditation. And then part 3 is stepping toward your new destiny. That's going to be the 4-part series in meditation. If you look on my IG, if you look through my IG lives, there's going to be a meditation. I don't even know what it's called. Meditation series. You can always go there, and then I'll have each of them. There's 2 for each week. There's 2 different versions that you'll have. You have one where it does a body awareness, and that's where it just has you to focus on one part of your body as you're going through the meditation. The second part will be a water meditation or water rising, and you'll be able to, during the meditation, it will have you imagining how the water is rising, so then you can go into the meditation, because your imagination is going to create the things, is going to create your reality. So again, thoughts become things. What you think about, your thoughts dictate your results. So just shift your imagination so you can shift the outward results, because when you do the inner work, the outer world is going to change. So thank y'all for tapping in, never tapping out. Again, if you can always feel free to join the 5th community, where it stands for Infinite Fit, Teaching Health, because you have to be able to teach so then you can continue to learn. Because the more that you teach, the more that you're constantly going to be a student of the game. And then the more physically fit that you are, you're going to be able to continue to go for your infinite journey longer. Okay? So, thank y'all for letting me share. I am Michael Q. LAU, the Holistic Transformation Coach, where I help you fall in love with the journey of fit by balancing the love-hate relationship of fitness and food. And as always, with the journey of fit, it never stops, it never quits. There's going to be higher highs and lower lows, but don't let your highs get too high and your lows get too low, because this is just a life and it just has ebbs and flows. As you reach the higher highs, you're going to reach to a top, to a certain spot, to where you can't see what's on the other side. So as you go through your journey, you're going to follow a path, and eventually there's going to be a curve that you are unable to see the other side. But don't fear, continue to go, and eventually you'll be able to see on the others to the other side and continue on the journey. You may have to reshape your plan, but never change the goal. Again, you may have to reshape, reframe, re-envision your vision. And that's your vision, your goal, but never change your goal, okay? Just change your course of action of how you're going to execute, because the goal was put in you for a reason. And you may have to adapt and modify, and if you learn that that goal was not meant for you and is not best for you, definitely go ahead and scratch it off, but then continue on the journey, because what is meant for you is meant for you. So thank y'all for tapping in. As always, never tapping out. I'm gonna see y'all next time, and thank y'all for tapping in. And go ahead and like, share, and subscribe this video out if you found meaning in this. As always, you all stay for infinite fit.